our body weight. Don't let it be heavy for the ground. Let our eyes close gently. Relax our body and mind. Let go unnecessary tensions in the body. Keep our head and body upright, firm and without tension. Let our muscles relax. Our head and shoulder don't have to be tense. Don't try forcefully, but let it be naturally. Let the hands relax on our tight palms down. If we keep one palm on the top of the other, do without tension in the fingers or without pressing the hand on the other. Keep our breath natural and free. Don't reject what is happening. Don't expect something to happen. Just know the pleasant happening. We must be able what we need to do and abandon. We must stop our personal thinking. Just be mindful to what we need to do and abandon. We must be able to do all what we should do. We all must be able to abandon to everything and every physical, verbal and mental action. Trying to use the complete understanding and trying to be complete practicing. We can be mindful on our normal breathing. Besides, we must be able to be mindful the knowing of the breathing and even do the action of mindfulness. Pleasant happening, pleasant knowing, and pleasant actions all are ever new impermanent nature. The practice of mindfulness can start simply with our normal breathing. If we are mindful on the breathing, we need to know the pleasant happening of the breathing. Don't think about the past. Don't hope for the future. Just be mindful on the pleasant breathing. To get more concentration, we must be able to be mindful on the pleasant breathing for a period of time. This kind of practicing is to do only, not to grasp as mind. This kind of practice is necessary, but the idea of me or mine are unnecessary. Let's do what we need to do. Left behind the thinking of I am practicing mindfulness and the practice of mindfulness as mine. Do what we need to do and abandon what we need to abandon. Abandoning quality is important, the same as doing quality. One day, near or far away, we all must abandon our family, our friends, our possession, and even all our actions. If there is no abandoning quality, we may suffer when we have to abandon. Time after time, we are abandoning our life. That is becoming more and more near to everyone. We must be able to lose everything and everyone. We cannot change this nature, but we can change ourselves, our quality, doing what we need to do and abandoning what we need to abandon are necessary all the time. If the pain is evident, be mindful on the pain and trying to know the pleasant happening of the pain. Our mind and body will happen what it must happen. These happenings cannot be the same at a moment, but if we try, we all can be the same knowing in a moment, knowing of pleasant happening. We all must put the effort to be the same knowing of pleasant happening. One may be mindful on the breath, one may be mindful on the pain, one may be mindful on the pleasant action. The most evident one needs to be mindful. The same object is not necessary to be mindful. The same knowing is necessary in every moment to be the same knowing of pleasant happening. We all need to be able to detach from the past and future, and also from the breathing, pain and action of doing. Mindfulness on the breathing or pain is necessary. So also detachment from the breathing and pain is also necessary. Pleasant breathing, pain and action of doing all are just to be mindful, not to attach as mind. Meditation alone and meditation with a group may not be the same, but we must make an effort to be the same knowing of pleasant happening. Pleasant happening is also not to reject and not to attach as mind, which is to use only, to experience only, to know only. We must be able to use the pleasant happening in the right way, using only. Most of the human beings do not keep precept, do not meditate, do not study Buddha teaching. In this way, they are making mistake of not doing what they should do. Most of the human beings are paying attention only to oneself, one family, one religion, one country, and etc. All these mental mistakes need to abandon. Most of us are used to be greedy, angry, and thinking very highly of ourselves. These mental mistakes are also need to be corrected. All evil things must be abandoned. All good deeds must be done. Mind needs to be clean and pure all the time. By listening Buddha teaching, trying to change from wrong view to right view. By using the right view, trying to change from wrong action to right action of doing only. My teaching is guiding you to know only, to do only, to experience only, to use only, without attachment. We must be able to know what we should know. We must be able to do what we should do, and we must be able to abandon what we should not do. We must be able to experience how we should do, experiencing only. We must be able to use cause and effect, how we should do, using only. Know what we should know and trying to detach from this knowing, liking, disliking, and thinking as reality are attachment which need to be abandoned. Because of not knowing clearly about the pleasant happening, we need to be mindful on the breathing or pain or pleasant action of doing. If we are able to be mindful directly on the pleasant happening, trying to be mindful on the pleasant happening, pleasant knowing and pleasant action of mindfulness are also pleasant happening. All are the same, ever new impermanent nature. We must be able to be mindful on the pleasant breathing. We must also be able to be mindful on the pleasant knowing, and we must also be mindful on the pleasant physical, verbal, and mental action. The pleasant action of mindfulness itself needs to be mindful. Only when we are able to be mindful on each of our action, we can understand the habit of how we used to say, how we used to meditate, how we used to eat, how we used to sleep. Doing as we are used to do is doing with the idea of me or mine. This is not doing only. We need to make effort to be mindful on each of the pleasant action, and we must detach from the pleasant action. Every attachment concerned with pleasant happening, knowing, and actions is necessary to detach. Because of attachment to someone or something is always occupied in our mind. If we are able to be mindful on our mind, we can see clearly who or what it in the mind at the present time. No one or nothing is occupied in the mind of Buddha. The mind of Buddha is pure, clean and powerful. Make effort to do and abandon what we need to do. Be mindful and detached all the time and in the right way of doing only. Practicing meditation is to do only. Guiding meditation is also to do only. Although the job is different between the yogis and teacher, to do only is the same. To experience only, to use only, and to know only are the same to all. I may not be able to teach well. You all may not be able to practice well. Both are to experience only, to use only, not to be disappointed. I may teach well and you all may practice well. Both are to experience only, not to be happy. Trying to obey the truth of doing only, knowing only, experiencing only and using only. The power of the truth will fulfill all our desire. Doing only is useful not only in meditation but also in daily activity. We may be one of the yogi, or we may be one of the family, or we may be one of the parents. Every life is to use only, not to reject and not to attach, not to misunderstand as reality or real importance. This kind of practice is very effective to be free from desire, anger and ignorance from our mind. ဘယ်သူအတွက်ဘယ်ဝအတွက်ဆိုတဲ့သဘောထားတွေကိုမစွန့်လွတ်နိုင်တာအဆွဲပါပဲ။ဘာမှညာမှဘယ်ချိန်မှဘယ်နေရာမှဆိုတဲ့သဘောထားတွေကိုသုံးတာတော့ကိစ္စမရှိပါဘူး။မစွန့်လွတ်နိုင်တာအဆွဲတွေပါပဲ။အဆွဲဆိုတာကလက်ခံပြီးမွေးမြူထားရင်မှားပါတယ်။စွန့်လွတ်ဖို့လိုပါတယ်။စိတ်နဲ့ပတ်သက်တဲ့အမှားတွေကတော့လောကီလူသားတွေအများစုမှာရှိနေပါတယ်။လောက်ရက်ကိုမှားတယ်လို့ပြောတာမဟုတ်ပါဘူး။မစွန့်လွတ်နိုင်တာကိုအမှားလို့ပြောတာပါ။ငါလို့သဘောထားတယ်၊ငါဥစ္စာလို့သဘောထားတယ်။ဒါမြတ်စွာဘုရားရှင်လည်းထားတာပါပဲ။ဒါပေမဲ့အဲ့ဒီလိုသဘောထားကိုမစွန့်လွတ်နိုင်တာအဆွဲပါ။အလုပ်ကိုလုပ်ရမယ်လို့ဒါနားလည်ထားလို့နားလည်တဲ့အတိုင်းလုပ်ဖို့တာသုံးတဲ့အတွက်လုံနိုင်တဲ့စွမ်းအားတာရှိတာပါစွန့်လွတ်ရမယ်နားမလဲတော့မစွန့်လွတ်တဲ့အတွက်စွန့်လွတ်နိုင်တဲ့စွမ်းအားမရှိပါဘူးတငါငါဆိုတဲ့သဘောထားနဲ့တရားထုတ်ရမှာမဟုတ်ပါဘူးအဲ့ဒီသဘောထားကိုစွန့်ပြီးတော့အားထုတ်နိုင်အောင်ကြိုးစားရမယ်အဲ့တော့စွန့်လွတ်ဖို့ဆိုတာကလည်းကုသိုလ်ကံအင်အားရှိမှလုပ်လို့ရတယ်။ကိုယ်ကမကြမ်းမှဖြစ်ပြီးဆိုရင်ဘယ်ဆရာဝန်အားကိုးရမလို့ဘယ်စီဝါပဲအားကိုးရမလို့ဒါတခြားလူမမာတွေလုပ်တဲ့အလုပ်ကိုပြုလုပ်မှာပါ။ငကိုယ်တည်းကဒါကြမ်းမာတဲ့အဖြစ်ကိုစောက်ကင်ထားတာကိုစွန့်လွတ်နိုင်ရင်ကြမ်းမာတဲ့အဖြစ်ကိုလားစောက်ကင်မထားဘူးဆိုရင်မကြမ်းမာတဲ့အဖြစ်ကိုလည်းစောက်ကင်ပြီးတော့စိတ်မကောင်းဖြစ်เสียမရှိပါဘူးကျမ်းမာတဲ့အဖြစ်ကိုစုပ်ကင်ပြီးတော့သဘောကျနေတဲ့အတွက်ဒါ mà chán mà đó là nhá ní đủ bỏ ta xây mà con gì à về sự vì xây mà con phía nào á hiện tại chúng sâu cái thà lu chỉ là ní lu ra thì ở đó mấy số này cả giờ đó nhá ní đủ giáo dục này xây để phía nào á những cái đó ông nào số nào đối tượng mu tết tết đông cha mu tết tết ba ngã bài ngã giải số bị đó mà sâu cái thà đâu sinh lên này mu lu vậy ngã mà chán mà ra ngã hiện tại đi ra ngã thì ở đó mà số này the ball thà đi go mà sinh lên này na xoay ở đi xoay ở phía mà ba rồi cho nó thì cái này lu đi chán mà sống sâu này đấy lu mà bao nhau nhau rồi này tùy vào đấy rồi có nào sâu cái thà chán mà đâu sâu cái thà lu mà chán mà đâu là sâu cái mi ở đó xin đi ra hiện tại chúng sâu cái thà lu thì trên đây ao sâu cái mi giáo dục này ra rồi cho nó đó ở đâu lướt chặt đã ao đi trên mi ra vậy mà con rồi mà con nào yêu xuôi này là mà con nào ta luôn mẹ về mẹ mà con rồi phiêu lưu rồi vậy đấy thì trên đi ao ta luôn mẹ về mẹ thì trên đi ăn này bắt được ngã bài ngã giải số đấy xuôi rồi phiêu lưu vậy đấy ngã thì mà ngã ở thì trên số đấy bỏ thà đi vô phiêu phù số đó mà phía này nè luôn mà hậu bảo rồi mà đâu này nào bị chạy thà vì đó lâu này nào lâu đào của nhị chân mà vậy mà tí đấy luôn mình xí bảo mà na đấy luôn đó mình xí bảo mình áp xin ở đó đã tết lễ gì biểu tết lễ gì ô tết lễ gì na tết lễ gì thì ra là gì bảo ấy đi phía sau nhỉ ạ có cha mà lại mà hậu phụ mình chỉ bên nam phía mà lại mà hậu phụ tại vì nó bắt đầu bị đó mà phía bỏ đi đấy đó bà đó là mua đi kiến sen đó ao chú ra mà ba mà càng tống đạo là chú ra mày tống gì à cái xí này đó mà tống luôn rồi mà giàu biểu ra lấy tống mà về biểu ra lấy tống mà về chém mà ra lấy tống mà về mà chém mà riêng lấy tống cha mà hiện tại riêng tống này được lúc thì mình cha mà tống riêng rồi mà giàu mà cái này nó lại muốn này tôi dùng tết tết tống ame, tuy chồng tết tết tuy chồng ame rồi mang cái này ná lại muốn nè, mà càng tống đã ỏng chú ra bộ bà vậy, chém mà đúng à lẽ, chém mà chỉ tiêu giao xoay nè tống luôn, mà chém mà đấy khai ra rồi lẽ, chém vào này đấy đây, ngã mà chém mà ra rồi, ngã yoga rồi đó mà, tôi cũng tiêu giao xoay nè tống nào bà vậy, hiện tại đúng à lẽ tiêu giao xoay nè, ngã hiện tại này ra ngã lúc trên là lâu mấy đi đồ tông này đượcတရားမယ်ဆိုတဲ့အခါကျတော့လေငါတရားတော်မယ်ဆိုတဲ့မဆွဲရဖြည့်စည်းနေတာပါပဲဒီလိုမှန်မှန်ကန်နားလည်ရင်ပဲတော်တက်တာပါလေနှမွေငါမှဖြစ်ရလေခြင်းဆိုတော့ငါဆိုတာကြီးကပဲတကယ်ဟုတ်နေတယ်ထင်နေတာပေါ့ငါယောဂဆိုတာကြီးကငါအသက်ဆိုတာကြီးကငါ့ကိုတတ်မဲ့သင်မင်းဆိုတာကြီးကတကယ်ဟုတ်တယ်လို့အထင်မှားမှုတွေကင်းအောင်ကြိုးစားမှာပါအမှားပြင်တယ်ဆိုတာလည်းတရားမထုတ်တဲ့အမှားလည်းပြင်မှသီလမဆောက်တည်တဲ့အမှားကိုပြင်မှဒါနမပြုတဲ့အမှားကိုပြင်မှအမှားပြင်မှုဆိုတာအမှားတွေပြင်မှများတော့မှအမှားပြင်နိုင်တဲ့စွမ်းရည်တတ်သိရှိလာမှာပါအဲဒါကြောင့်လည်းကောင်းမှုကုသိုလ်လုပ်တွေကအတိတ်ကရောပြစ္ဆုတ်ပံရောအနာဂတ်ရောကာလ၃ပါးစလုံးဆက်ဆက်အောင်လုပ်နေနိုင်ဖို့ကြိုးစားပါမယ်မလုပ်တဲ့နာတွေလုပ်နေလို့ဖြစ်နေရတဲ့ပြဿနာပါတယောက်ယောက်ဆိုတဲ့မထားတဲ့သဘောထားကိုမစွန့်လွတ်နိုင်လို့ဖြစ်နေရတဲ့ပြဿနာသဘောထားတာကိုပြောချင်တာမဟုတ်ပါဘူးလုပ်လို့ရတာလုပ်တာကိစ္စမရှိဘူးဒီလိုလုပ်တာနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးငါလှုပ်လို့ထင်မှားနေတာငါလို့ထင်မှားနေတာဒီလိုလှုပ်ရတာကြီးကိုသဘောကျနေတာညှိတွယ်နေတာအဲ့ဒီမားတွေကင်းစင်ဖို့ chú ra mà ba xây cả miếng này short tháo bộ lừa bán ngáo sa số để đổ tháo cũ mà biết được là sao chú ra bị sung lên nhà mình cho điều là short tháo mình là ngáo sa số để đổ tháo chú ra bị sung lên nhiều ba vậy đi lâu mua đi này bắt đầu bị làm mà lên ngáo lâu số để đổ tháo cũ chú ra bị sung lên nhiều ba vậy. Teaching is over now. Let's share our merits. May all good deeds we have done day now be dedicated to all sentient beings. May all beings rejoice and share in our merits. Sadhu, sadhu.